Yo, welcome everyone. Welcome back to Chatting with Zim. This is episode 22, part 2. That's right, part 2. If you missed part 1, that's alright. You could always go back after this live show and check out part 1 with my boy Joe Tolliver. Or if you missed it entirely, just head over to YouTube, follow the real Zim Zimma. That's me. Or type in Chatting with Zim and we'll definitely pop up of all the artists that been on. And we were talking to Joe Tolliver at Joe _Tolliver _art. Make sure you follow him on here and on Facebook at Joe Tolliver. Awesome guy, great artist. If you guys haven't followed him, number one, we talked a little bit about Comic-Cons in part 1, so definitely check that out. We touched up on some, just some pop culture that's been going on, some expecting movies that are going to come out this year, some of the stuff we like, there he is, the man himself, man, myth, the legend, Mr. Joe Tolliver. Let's actually get him back into, I don't know what to call this, I don't want to use beam him up into the mothership. I think I used that. That's somebody else's show, but yeah, I'll find something.
That's a little much, but that's okay. I'll take it. I'll adjust this thing. Yeah, man. Yeah, I enjoyed the last hour. That was good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks again, man. Thanks again for hopping in and just extra time, man. Fortunate for us that I actually have the time right now. And we could definitely go into part 2, man. There's a lot of questions that I didn't even get to. There's a lot of questions you answered without me actually having to talk, so that's awesome, amazing.
Good, yeah.
And then hopefully we could open up, the line here for just some people to ask some questions. Definitely feel free.
Yeah. And while we were taking that break, it gave me a minute, like, oh yeah, we didn't talk about a couple of things, so like some things that I was thinking about that might need to come brought up, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm all here. I'm gonna follow your lead, man. Whatever you got.
Cool. So we left off talking about, just about the Josh's tools. We ran through that, so thank you for that. Awesome stuff, man. I don't think we touched on some paints or colors. You said you're using Copics and Prismas, right?
Yeah, so like I was doing Prismacolors. So my stepmother is a traditional painter.
Oh, nice.
I think if there may be a turning point where I'm just like, oh my God, maybe I just want to be a painter and I just want to do book covers. Like I might go that route. But we'll see. Like, let's get these comics done and see where I'm at after a couple of comics. You know what I mean? So we'll see where I'm at. But I do want to eventually learn how to paint. But I think the first step after leaving markers and colored pencils is going to be watercolor. Because I tried that with watercolor and I failed miserably. I can't do shit with watercolor except if it's like just a starry, beautiful night sky. Like I can do that all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything else, like, it's terrible. Man, my glass desk is shooting a laser beam right into my eye.
I see it.
It's a laser beam. Avoid that shit, man. Wow.
No, I definitely see that, man.
This way. There we go. A little bit better.
Cool. So let's see. Hardest as an artist, what's the hardest thing for you to draw as an artist? So, for example, for me, it would be women's jawline is pretty hard for me. You know what I mean? Hands still give me difficulty from time to time. What about you, man?
Last year, I would have said women's faces. Last year or 2 years ago, I spent a lot of time sure I could do it. And even my family, you know how family, you're always like, family, everyone in your family's going to love your stuff. They're going to love your stuff. No, not my family.
Oh, shit.
Learn how to do expression. Like, you got to fix your expressions. That's the one thing you got to work on. So I've put a lot of effort into expressions from different angles and getting away with it. I think I still need to work on women's lips and eyes and irises because I just don't do enough close-ups. So that's one thing. But I think my biggest... Okay. Sorry, I just got it.
Yeah. Shout out to Nooses, Phil.
Yeah, I just got a text that came in. Sorry.
PPOP.
So, to answer your question now, I think it's backgrounds and perspective work.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Backgrounds and perspective work is key for doing my comics. So I really got to level my game up there and really focus on that shit. But my other problem is moving the figure away from my my initial reference. So I need to be able to build the form faster and better in more dynamic poses and different angles. And so if I see like a reference image I like, use it as a reference but change the camera angle on it, you know what I mean? So I'm not focused on whatever camera angle I'm looking at. And that'll speed up my panel work. So that's the key thing. So to fix that, I need to work on my perspective this year and do a whole lot of figure studies. Like a whole lot of figure studies. So like one of the things I really want to do in the next couple months is just fill up a sketch pad of just figure studies. And I think that's going to... So for me, that's how I fixed most of my problems in the past. Is I just sat down and studied. Like,
Okay.
Like the way I didn't like that my inks were just basically tracing with my pencils for a long time. And I was like, how do I get that dynamic look? And so I tried to look around at what was good and what I liked. And one of the things I did was I looked at a really great book that was with the Walking Dead comic series, and all they are is just black and white books.
Oh, shit.
So like I just took that and I just copied their panels. Why does this work? And I just studied it. And so I went with that as well as looking at a lot of Hellboy stuff at the inking stage. I can't remember the guy's name. Is it Mignola? Is it Mike Mignola, I think?
The guy that the artist for Hellboy?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Mike Mignola. And the guy, he's the master at layouts.
Yeah, Mike Mignola.
Yeah. So like I just studied his work and I just practiced. So I try to level up my game that way. But yeah, that's my...
Yeah, dude. And before totally fucking slipped my mind, man, and forgive me for this, but before we go any further, dude, thank you for your service, bro. Thank you.
Worries.
Very, very much, man. You had a bigger set of nuts than I do, I'll tell you that much.
I appreciate it. No worries. I enjoy my job. I get to hang out, travel all over the world. So, like, just a quick side note on what I do in the Army. I'm basically public affairs, which is public relations for the Army. And I shoot photos and videos of generals and privates and sergeants and officers of all the kind. And just basically my one sole job is to communicate to the American people what the Army's doing.
Oh, okay.
So I could do that in Italy, Germany, France, United States, South America. I've been all over the world in the last 14 years. So.
Oh, snaps.
Yeah, it's been a good time.
Cool, man. Well, thank you very much, and I think everybody else, big thank you. Hats off, man.
Yeah.
Always.
I appreciate it.
Now you said you had a couple of your boys. Are any of them showing any signs of artistry there?
Man, that was perfect timing. So I brought my son's artwork in here because they're both good.
Okay.
But my 8-year-old is going to be better than me than I am now by the time he's 20.
Oh, man.
Look at this guy's work. So he's hyper focused on Sonic right now.
Sweet.
He's 13.
Yes.
And he's a total beast.
That's what I'm talking about, dude.
he's already done one comic where he got recognized as like the best project of the year.
Oh
Um,
shit, nice.
he's amazing. The problem is he's like a carbon copy of every great artist ever. You know, always drawing, not doing what he's supposed to do
Oh,
at school. You know, failing classes. It's like you got to do the work.
Right, let me see your let me see your notebook full of sketches over his homework and everything. You know.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's crazy, but he's so good. Um, he's so talented. But yeah, we got to rein him in. You know, he's absolutely amazing though. Like he's been drawing. Like I said, Sonic is one of his key things now. He was doing Angry Birds for a long time. I think Angry Birds was his big thing. Like for me, I remember drawing. Uh, it was Gargoyles was the big one, doing it in their own like weird ways. And Calvin and Hobbes, man, I love Calvin and Hobbes.
Okay.
It was like so, but yeah, he's amazing, and I think I what my one goal in life is to set him up uh, so that when he's coming out of high school, he's 10 years ahead of everybody else,
Yeah.
and he can do whatever he wants, you know. So
Yeah. Nusa says he's going to be a beast, and your wife says he has mostly C, so he's not failing.
okay,
You know, which is cool because I was there right there. That's the type of student I was. I was a C student. You know what I mean? So
I was the same way. I was having problems at school. Like,
yeah.
it's okay. People, it's okay. It's okay. He's
Yeah,
a good student. He's not bad.
Don't worry about it, man. He'll be fine.
That one later.
You know. Wait till they start getting into girls, man. Oh, oof.
Oh yeah.
Oof. That's another topic. Let's not open that can of worms there, man. So.
No, I hope so. At least another year and a half, but I'm waiting for it to kind of pop off. It's going to happen at some point.
I'm talking about, hey, Dad, let me borrow the car. You know? Hey, man, I got a daughter. She's 8. She's 8 right now. It's my only child. So I'm definitely going to wait for, I love him, Dad. It's like, oh, my heart,
What is that? I don't
Looks
know
like an X.
Is that an X? Oh.
Yeah, like, yeah.
All right.
X that out.
She's my handler. You know, she may actually turn into my handler as I move forward in my career. She'll turn into my handler.
There you go, man. Do it.
I don't know if you ever knew this, but King Kirby, right?
Yeah.
I was hugely influenced by him, and I didn't even realize it for a long time. But like Kirby, he would have people come by the house, and he would draw, and he would just give them away, right? And people would be like, "Oh, okay," and they would take the art, and they'd start like leaving the house, and like his wife was like, "No, no, no, no." Like, not leaving the house with free artwork. You can pay. Like, oh, yeah, he gave it to me for free. And his wife would be like, no, you're going to pay for it. So, like, even he had to, like, his wife was like, no, you're going to pay for the artwork. But the dude was so talented. He would work so fast. But even King Kirby, man, he had a queen that took care of business.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So my wife is really amazing with stuff like that. She's probably going to keep me in line for most of my career. If my trajectory takes off, it would be great.
There you go. You know what? I think I'll be on the same boat, man. Yeah. My wife's definitely the brutal honesty, and she's out there. She's a hard hitter, great worker, man. Shout out to the wives! Yay! Appreciate you. So, favorite character to draw, my brother? If you were sketching, just something to doodle, and just to hype you up a little bit for what's to come, what do you usually go to, man? Like for me, it's a simple Spider-Man. I love doing Spider-Man, and that's my go-to character that I draw.
I think it would probably have to be Batman.
Batman.
And the funny part about it is that I've never liked a single Batman I've ever drawn. I've always thought it's not quite good enough for the character. But I feel like if anyone asked me to draw Batman, I'm always excited to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's never quite good enough. And I feel like once I get Batman right, that's in my own style, it's sort of like, I feel like it's going to be that moment when I feel like I've hit the peak. You know what I mean? I'm at the professional level I want to be at. Like, I'm not trying to be somebody else, and my style is not quite ready. Like, once it's in my style and it's badass, I feel like, yeah, I'm there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
But yeah, I sketch him all the time. It just doesn't look that cool to me. He's just never quite perfect. Yeah.
If you had a superpower, man, what would it be?
Oh, I've heard you ask people that before. And I'd have to say time travel.
Ooh, that's always a good one, dude.
Yeah, because I think you can do a lot with being able to go back. Like fix mistakes or protect people, family and friends and stuff that may get hit by a car or something that super strength or speed wouldn't be able to fix.
Yeah.
What was going to happen? You just pop smoke, go back in time and move them a little bit. You're good to go. So,
hey, man,
yeah, give me a little cable power there, and let me time travel. I'll be good to
go. Go hunt down Gambit and shit.
Yeah, teleporters.
Off to teleportation. It says bye. Off to France for a few hours. Oh, that'll be cool, man.
Hey, for a France trip. Okay.
Teleportation. I agree. That's something I would like. I think teleportation would be like a Nightcrawler is something I would have to go with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
That was probably one of the coolest things out of the X-Men original movies too. That Nightcrawler scene and
oh yeah,
like that was sick.
That was totally sick, dude.
Yeah. That's pretty cool power. I just feel like it's limiting. Like, you got to know where you're going. You got to kind of see it already. Like,
but well, it definitely has pros and cons, man. But like everything else, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's see. How do you recharge your creative batteries, my friend?
My creative batteries?
Yep.
I can get these. I'm just trying to get the light out of the face. Honestly, my biggest problem is I don't have a lot of time, and I end up not having a lot of energy because my days are so long at work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Light out. So there we go. All right, that's better. So the way I build my creativity back up and get my creative drive up is doing fan art. That's basically. So, like, if you're seeing me do a piece of fan art, it's because, like, I don't have the energy to do something else. Like, it just gets me back to the board. It's something I enjoy doing. It's fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not for a client or anything. It's just for me. And I can kind of work on different stuff. But if you also see me doing fan art, what I should be doing is writing scripts and doing pages.
There you go.
Developmentals and stuff. Yeah. And you do a lot of your stuff on that, and you just ship it right out, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pointing to this because so long story short, I used to do graffiti when I was in high school. So that's where I learned about these, but then after I graduated high school and, turned 18 and whatnot, I was like, holy crap, I could go to jail for this stuff. I kind of quit doing it illegally. And, I put this into hiatus, into the back burner. And then recently, about a month or two ago, Chachi and Bruce 13, they're like, hey, man, you should start doing these again. So I recommend these to any artist doing it. There's a huge following for these, man. So if you want to grow your followers, definitely hit these up. They're free. You know, they're gonna ship them to you for free, and quick little doodles, man. Your son definitely, rock some Sonics in there. Boom,
That's
he's
all.
on it.
That's good stuff because the biggest problem I have is work on such large boards that
Okay.
if people want them, like, it costs. This is going to cost. This is going to alone. This is going to cost the original to ship. This is going to cost like $20.
Okay.
So that's why it gets kind of pricey. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you can't just like go, hey, I'll knock it out. $20. Here you go. Because
Yeah.
it costs $20 to ship it. That's cool. I like that idea. That's good stuff.
Yeah, man. So definitely, I mean, talk to me after if you ever want to get into these. Definitely hit me up, and I'll guide you through. There's little secrets here and there for these, but yeah, man, they're fun to do. There's a huge following. I'm telling you. Thalo Halo does it. Bruce 13, Chachi. I'm in a crew called Mac Crew, Monsters Art Clan. If you go there, you're gonna see all these artists that are involved in. They're called 228 labels or slaps because you could just grab them and slap them on the street somewhere, and there you go.
That's cool. Yeah, I know. I dig it. Yeah.
And like I said, there's a huge following. So I got De La Torre Comics. He's my cousin, and he got into it and putting some cool characters. You got freaking Batman and Wolverine on there. So I think it'll boost your followers a little bit if you get into that.
Yeah,
It did for me. So
I'll try it out. No, definitely. I mean, I'm down. I'm game for pretty much anything at this point. Just try it out on Instagram, knock it out.
yeah,
Put that following up. Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
just laying it out there, man.
Okay.
Uh,
Not have this window, man. Laser beams of rectangles on my face.
got any shades? Throw those on.
I just don't want those big lights on my head. That's all. It just looks weird.
Nah, it's all right, man. Let's see. How about any other skills, Joe? Anything else you do? Can you play the accordion or?
A lot of video editing. Let's see, what else did I do? So a lot of video editing. I've been doing that since I was in high school. Photography. That's kind of a lot of the stuff I do in the Army. Writing. So I write as well. But outside of that, played football in high school. Was pretty damn good at it. Then I busted my back pretty bad. And that was pretty much the end of that. All right, basketball player, I guess. Pretty much, I think the biggest thing about being a dad is it makes everything else secondary, even like being an artist sometimes. I'm like, I just want, if I die and the thing I do the best is make good kids, like grow up as good people and have fun with them while I'm here on this planet, then that's like a big part of my life. Like that's like the main reason I'm on this planet. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's like my biggest thing. Like, so I don't have a whole lot of other hobbies because I spend a lot of my time doing art now. As much as sappy as that sounds, that's sort of where I'm at.
No. I mean that's cool. It's true, man. I definitely want to give our kids a just a better life, and definitely that's always a priority.
Yeah. I wish I had your setup. You're like perfect.
No, I mean you look good, man. It looks good in there, man. You definitely you're definitely right there. You're definitely centered well. You don't have optic beams at your eye. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, that's just super white. I'm like white.
No, man. You got a light on?
I'm like powder.
Powder. Yeah. Damn, that's old school, dude.
Yeah, that's old school. People don't know powder, man.
No, man. That's
34 now?
What was that?
You're 34, right?
Yeah, 34, man.
Yeah, so you know powder.
Yeah, I'm turning 35 in July.
I turned 37 December 28th last year.
Oh shit.
I'm coming on the middle of the ages, man. I'm coming up on those 40s. So.
Dude, well, honestly, well, you don't look it, man. So.
I try to stay young, man.
Yeah, there you go.
So, my wife doesn't allow me to get old. That's why I don't get old.
It's like, no getting old. Let's see, Marvel or DC, man?
What was that? Oh, that was a teleportation comment from my wife. My wife.
Yeah.
At this point, she might as well get on the damn interview.
Right?
Anyway, yeah, man. What else you got? I got to talk about or whatever.
No, there's still more, man. Marvel or DC, brother?
Oh, it's always going to be. It's in my heart. Whether I want it to be or not, it's DC because of Batman. Because my favorite villain is Mr. Freeze.
Oh, nice.
Just complex storytelling, even though like the breadth of DC is very limited as far as like their really good stories. You know what I mean? Like they've got hundreds of thousands of characters, but who knows all of them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Marvel, you just know all of their characters because they're written so well. They're so in depth. They're, Stan Lee created breathing. What's the word? Fallible, damaged, characters that make mistakes. So I grew up on Marvel, but I think DC is really the one I'd have to choose. Yeah. I don't know if that's very conflicting, but yeah, I'd go with DC.
Cool. Well, that ends this interview, guys. Thank you very much for joining. I'm just joking. I'm definitely a Marvel guy all the way,
Hey,
man.
listen, I mean, you got to realize, like, Wolverine is my one of the top guys. Like,
Yeah.
like one of my favorite comics of all time is a Wolverine comic. You know, I love Marvel. I love so many of the characters from Marvel: Thor, Iron Man. I had all of the originals when my father had the original first issue original of Fantastic Four. He had the original of who else did the original of? Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, X-Men, and something else. Right? He had the original.
Okay.
The original comics of these characters.
Where are they at now?
They're at someone's home or sold because my mother decided to sell them at a yard sale.
Wow. No.
But I remember, even as a kid, I was glorious.
Yeah.
You know? But like also, like it's hard to beat when you see certain things done so well. So like the Death of Superman, Death in the Family with Batman when the Robin was killed. Like these are glorious stories. But also like Wolverine when his claws are taken out. There's so many great runs by so many different authors. They're just so drastically different. It's like apples and oranges, you know. So like, if somebody asks like, what's better, Image or DC or Marvel, then that's kind of like, yeah, I'd go with DC or Marvel over Image because Image is just Marvel on steroids, basically. You know, it's like a bunch of artists that just do no wrong.
Image was on a whole new level, dude. Back then, dude, they definitely they had these guys sweating in their shoes. You know what I'm saying? In their comic bags and sleeves.
They needed to do it, and these days, I think, and I don't want to get too much out of the bag yet on this, but I'll say this: I think that we live in a time where indie comic book creators choose to work together at a level that has never been seen before. We will change everything. There will be no reason for Comic-Cons, us scratching the dirt for the leftovers from Marvel or DC. Us, asking for more. Please let me have some more, like, $5 donations here and there. There's, and I'm working on it right now. If we build a platform that allows us all to work together, then with that platform we could all work and do nothing other than building content for that platform. If we all decided to work together and not compete against each other, like the whole Indiegogo thing and all this sort of stuff, like I think that we're doing it wrong. Like we're doing it where we're chasing. We're doing it where we're like building followers and we're hoping to be able to sell comics and all that sort of stuff. But if we build a platform where we work together and we say, look, you come to this platform and you get 100 comics or whatever that price is, then you get X amount of followers on that platform. That goes to the artists and the producers of those books. We're all working. We're all working, we're all making money. And I think that's the future. Not to get too much into like something that it's a dream of mine, but I think that's gonna change. We could do that, and we start working together and start building content together.
That's pretty cool. It's like an open source. You know what I'm saying?
It's an open source. You pay for it. You get everything that's there. I know, man. You get me talking. You have to cut some of this out.
It's unedited, unfortunately. It's out into the world now.
I know, man.
Oh my god.
Well, yeah.
Cool. Well, let's see. We got last 25 minutes, I guess, give or take. Okay. Let's answer these two questions real quick. Let's see if we could do a less than 2-minute answer on these.
Okay.
As far as commissions, so let's go into another what is it called segment here? We call it the tip jar.
Okay.
On the tip jar, we talked about commissions earlier, and you touched on some of the stuff for like Comic Cons. So back into commissions for people coming up, artists. This is something I also had just a struggle with, and even to this day, it's like how do you price your work? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay, so if I'm doing stuff on the fly at a con, right now I probably wouldn't charge. Now, if I was at a con, I probably would charge $45 to $50 at the con. Sitting there, someone would come back and get it after some time. That would probably be what I would charge. And I'm working backwards so that I can explain it. Based on what I have and the size of it, and how many man hours I put it together. So if somebody wants a specific type that's based on how many characters, background, all that sort of stuff, it starts at 100 and then goes up. That's if I'm mailing it out, that sort of stuff. That's even if somebody doesn't think I'm worthy of that amount. I'm like, okay, you can go do something else. Thankfully, I don't need the money, so I can price my stuff at something that I would like to be at, even if I'm not quite there. And there's a reason for that. I did a piece right before I left Korea last year that I was going to sell for about $100. And this was a big piece. It had a guy with a helicopter and a Reaper something out of a helicopter, all this crazy shit. And I tried to sell for $100, and the guy was like, no, I can't take it for $100. He ended up giving me $200 for it, $220.
Oh, nice.
Maybe even more. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to price myself higher, and then I won't sell, and that's fine. Basically, what that allows me to do is to communicate with the audience that with my potential clients, if I'm not at the level they want to be at this price tag, but by the time I get there and I'm selling, I know I'll get that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like if they think it's too much for my quality, then by the time I get to that quality and start selling it, at least I know I can get that. But yeah, so cons, I would say for beginning artists, really look at what your quality is. Look at who you're selling next to, even when you're not at cons. Going, okay, well, it's really, you price it based on demand. You know what I mean? I'm sure you've heard that before. Probably, if you haven't heard that, you look at what your demand is. So if you need the money, never price your stuff so low that you're doing yourself a disservice. Sell stuff for like $5 or whatever, unless it's like you're selling a lot of stickers at a con or something, and it's like, you want people to come to the table, check out your stuff. That's great, but I wouldn't sell a lot of stuff for $5 online. At least do like a $20 or something like that, because I think people look at stuff that's cheaper and they go, okay, well, it's not worth it. It's so cheap. But it's really, if you have 5 people coming to you in the span of 6 months, then you need to drop your price because your demand isn't high. But if you're getting 60 people come to you in a week, then you can increase your ask for how much money it's worth because your demand is so much higher. So that's sort of how you play that game.
Well said. And last one. What is the most important idea, skill, or tip that you learned or that you could share as far as doing conventions and Comic Cons and stuff like that? Something that you learned, man, like
yeah. Because we talked about the thing earlier about like finding your niche and like going forward with that, right? So that's like you want to sell at Comic-Con. But I would say one of the biggest things that you should do that I learned at a Comic-Con is don't lie about who you are. And it didn't, I don't want to say like I went and I lied about it. So like when I went to Comic-Con, I said, and Soul, I wrote down in my bio, writer and artist, comic book writer and artist, known to do X, Y, and Z, right? Mm-hmm. So there was a comic book writer and artist, publisher right behind me. And they were like, oh, cool, you do your own comics. Like, what comics do you have? I said, well, I don't actually have my own comics. I write them and I do. And so don't be misleading in your work because it will turn people off right away that could have been like, oh, I'm a publisher, let me look at your work, versus I'm a publisher, I want to look at your comics. Oh, you were sort of being sly with what you were writing. Now I'm kind of turned off by it. So just be honest with what you've done.
Oh, that's a good one.
Would be a big one. And then my second huge takeaway is to never be afraid to show your work to big artists and any group that you want their opinion from. Like, don't be afraid. You're there for that, like maybe for that sole purpose. And if you don't take advantage of that, it may not come around again. So that would be my other one is, even if you know your work means work, like take it in front of the judge and let that judge, red pen that shit. Like, you gotta have the courage to throw your life out there because you never know when your next shot's going to be. So it's important to get that advice right then and there.
Find your niche, don't lie, and definitely be open to criticism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't be afraid to.
Yeah, don't be afraid of that. Cool. Great tips, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, dude. We'll take the last 15 minutes. We'll open it up to questions. And while we wait for questions from people watching, I know you said you had a bunch of stuff that you wanted to talk about as far as like books and stuff that you wanted to recommend. Let's get into that, man.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I think a lot of people are always like, oh, before we go to the books, I did talk about my first comic. This is my favorite comic right now that I've seen recently. It's the Infinite Crisis Countdown. They need to make a movie about this. It is all about the original Blue Beetle and how everyone in the Justice League hates him. And, well, not hate him, but like they don't respect him.
Okay.
The entire book, it's like 100 pages, it seems like, trying to figure out this mystery, and ends up dying at the end. Like, it's an awesome read. It's probably
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, sorry, my bad. Probably the best book I've ever read.
Okay.
It's absolutely amazing. Anyway, so some books. I stacked some books up here because I'm in the How to Draw Comics. I'm in a lot of other Facebook pages, and I always hear a lot of like, what books should I do? What classes should I take? So I went to college for media arts and animation. It was a terrible college. I know that one. It was a terrible college, but I learned everything that I needed. Basically, I focused on, I learned everything on YouTube, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to follow that one up because we'll go in the vein of that one, right? Check this out. Cool. This is the Bridgman's Complete Guide to Drawing from Life. So,
Bridgman's. Do they have a podcast?
You know what? It's an older one, so they might
Okay.
on him. But this is like back at the very, very basics of everything. Like talking about those chins. It breaks everything down into joints and bones and squares and like it's all here. So if you want to learn how to do body proportions and everything like that, this is raw. Like this is Roman time period shit right here.
Oh shit.
Learn it here, and then you develop your own style from it. You don't want to like get too influenced by it. So this is a big one. Like if you look at my bookshelf, I've got a lot of books over there on how to draw and everything like that. But these are my best ones. One of the top ones over there is like the Animator's Survival Guide. That's a big one. And how to do storyboards. That's a big one too.
Oh, nice.
So,
I know you also said you wanted some help with like action poses and stuff like that.
uh-huh. Yep. And that's the thing is that I've got, so that's where I'll put this one in there. It's very similar to that one. And I want that one.
Okay.
I want that one bad. I don't have that one. I've been wanting it for a while. That's the action one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's badass. That's very similar. It's just better, but that's similar to how to draw the Marvel way.
So, oh yeah. I think I had that one too, the Stanley one.
I lost that one. That's the John Buscema, actually. I think
This
he
one.
did start working that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like that one. That one's really good. This one is really cool because it shows the difference between your manga style and your Western style, but it's got some really good dynamic like expectations on how to break the form down. Really, it's just from pencils all the way to colors. It goes into a lot of stuff, but what I like about it is it bridges the gap between manga and Western.
Okay, cool.
How that works. All of these, I would advise everybody to get all of these DC Comics guides, but this is the one I use the most. DC Comics inking. I also have how to do digital and everything, but this goes from different techniques to how everything is sort of, I can just go to almost any page here and it's just masterful, and it'll explain how to do what they're saying with the inks. So this is a big one, inking, but you can get this, the DC Comics guides. I would advise any new artist across the full board spectrum. I only got 2 more and I'll be done. I love this one. Actually, just one more. This is it. Drawing people, how to portray the clothed figure. I think a lot of people bypass this. And this is absolutely imperative. I mean, it just goes in how to break down the form and how, I mean, this one doesn't have the clothes on that page, but I can go to almost any other page. And you just start, it breaks down how the folds work. And so these are the things that really have influenced me. So when I see something, I've already sort of broken that down, and I feel a little more comfortable with it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I kind of like, before the interview, I was like, oh, I'll grab some of my books, because I think that's something that a lot of people ask. But yeah, so if there's any questions out in the void of space of the cool, social media sphere, I'm all game.
And you know what? Just while we're here, let's just some more tips as far as like how to reach followers on Instagram. That was I think this is my piece of advice here for the tip jar. I'm pretty sure I sound like a broken record, but make sure you guys are definitely, something I learned is take advantage of the hashtags, and make sure you tailor it to whatever it is that you're trying to push out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think
help me out here, because I'll ask you a question then. So one of the things I've learned after watching YouTube and stuff like that, what I used to do was I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do a Marvel comic character. So I'd say Marvel superhero drawing, right? And that was like 2 million hashtags of that, right?
okay.
Like 500. So what I learned later was the best way to do it is you hashtag smaller numbers, because they're more likely to see it, and they're at a lower level. So like you're trying to find that balance.
So
how it really works, because I can't get traction with any of my stuff.
So say no more. It's funny because my brother Delanuse, I had this conversation with him about a week or two ago, and I was under the same impression. When I first started on Instagram, I'm like, okay, well, how does this hashtag work? How do you get followers? And there's tips on the internet. They're gonna say, oh, make sure you. Well, they're contradicting tips on the internet. You know what I mean? So there's some that I've said, that I've read, and it's like, oh, you want to go for your big ones, your 2 millions. That's what you want. You know what I mean? I've read other ones, and I pretty much stuck to this tip for like the first year and a half of being here on Instagram. And that is exactly what you said. You want to go with the 500 followers as opposed to the 2 point something million for superheroes. You know what I mean? And it's true. As far as like algorithms and all that stuff goes, your 501, it comes to cons and pros. The biggest pro is that it's 500,000 people. That means your chances of your art staying up on that page is a lot more than something that's constantly getting hit with millions of hashtags for that hashtag. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
So I think, and what my brother recommended, he says, well, although that is true, your main priority is to get as many eyes on it as possible. And although you might not do it, as opposed to what I'm about to say, which is when you click on these hashtags, there's people that actually go to this hashtag frequently. That's why they are so popular. So for Marvel, so let's take Marvel superheroes hashtag. It has 200 million compared to Marvel superhero or Marvel heroes, which has 500K, Although the 200 million might, your story might appear and maybe get knocked down, you still have those followers that are following that hashtag. So eventually that's what they go to, and that they're going to see it. You know what I'm saying? So I think at the end of what I'm trying to say is I would push for the 2 million. Push for the highest numbers possible for the hashtag that you're trying to create.
Yeah.
So for example, and what I mean by tailoring is, I still do it to this day where I'll have like, so the maximum is 30 hashtags per post. It won't allow you to post after that. So I do maybe about a good 10 or 15 of them, which is your normal ones. The ones you always hashtag draw, hashtag art, hashtag artist on Instagram. I got my own hashtag called hashtag the Rio Zimzima. So there's always posting on that. And then once you're done with those, the basics, then go ahead and tailor it. Hashtag Batman, hashtag Bruce Wayne, hashtag DC Comics, hashtag DC Comics Batman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that goes back to like my ADD stuff, right? So like I think I'm just shooting myself in the foot, and I wonder if I got to be like a lot of other people where I want to just do the art, you know what I mean? And I want to get on social media to be like, hey, your art's good, or tweak this, or hey, we should collaborate on this, or talk live or whatever, But yeah, when it comes time to like once I've done the art and I've got it up, man, I just hashtag real quick, and then I'm like, I just always know. It feels like it's frustrating. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I've gotten really in depth with the hashtags, and I've done it where I've done a small amount of hashtags. So the algorithm is just tough for me. But I like what you're saying. Like, just knock them all out. You know what I mean? Like, go for the 100 million, get them in there. The whole point is to get eyes on. So like, just keep getting after it. So.
Yeah, I would so take it with a grain of salt, but I would, from out of the 30 that you're limited to, I would do at least a good 10 of them, hit the big ones, knock those out of the way first. Hashtag ink, hashtag I don't know, you know what I mean? But you know what I'm trying to say. Knock out those big ones. Make sure that you got some of those in there, and then after that, go in and tailor it with as much as you can. The name of the game here is eyes on, eyes on your piece, and you're eventually gonna get those eyes. It might not be the next day, but trust me, it works, and it's been working for me. So it's.
Hey, I'm not opposed to trying anything else. I just don't want to walk away from Instagram. You know what I mean? Because I think it's a really great way to. It's tailor made to really get people working together on projects like visually. And I think it's a smart way to do business. So I really dig that about Instagram. I've just been very frustrated not getting that traction because I have been at it for a few years now, and I've been a little bit hung up. And I think traction, and I have had momentum in the past. I think my biggest frustration with Instagram is that you have to really put a lot of time into it. Like, more time than maybe, the cost benefit kind of thing. Like, what does it cost you and what's the benefit of it? And I've only been back on Instagram seriously for about a month and a half, and hey, I'm already on with you. So, like, there's definitely a benefit for putting the time in. And so I'm grateful that, that we can do this. I'm grateful that I can show my artwork off and that I've gotten to a point where people like my stuff and are willing to sit down and chat with me about it. So that's freaking fucking awesome. You know what I mean? That's kick-ass. So I guess what I need from Instagram and the void and the great space of Instagram is more feedback on like, what more do you want from me? What can I give to Instagram and the people that like Instagram to build that followership up? Either maybe I just need more time, just put more time and effort into it.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a fast blast. We're coming down to like the last 7 minutes, 2 minutes, and then last 5 minutes to say our goodbyes. But another one is make sure that you are communicating or at least responding to every single comment that they give. Make sure you like it and at least give them a thanks. I see a lot of artists, they get a lot of hits, and when I go and I check out, their communication with their followers, they have like 30 people liking their stuff, but there's no one like to response. There's no thank you. You know what I mean? And I really think that one-on-one communication, even as small as a thanks, it goes a long way to building that followership.
Okay.
It's interaction, man. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. I was only interact with somebody if they actually commented. But I like that idea. That's really smart because I do appreciate everybody who likes my work. I literally noticed, I would say probably within every 3 likes on my artwork after I posted it, I'm seeing about every single one.
Okay.
So there's no reason why not, comment, hey, thank you for, swinging by like. You don't
Yeah.
have to do that and respond to a comment. Like, showing appreciation that somebody is at least appreciating your work is a big thing. I didn't even think about that. Like, right over
Yeah.
my. Wow.
So I mean, from what I noticed is, people want to know that the artist is real. I mean, obviously we're pushing out all this art, but there's a lot of uh, fan art pages that people create. Oh, check this artist out, and they just bundle it up, and that's cool and everything. But as far as the actual artist, if it's like when you guys talk back to me and respond back to me, hey, I'll be on your show. It's like, oh shit, I get all giddy, and it's like, hell yeah. So having that artist interaction is definitely key. Also, make sure that, especially for the people that are following you, make sure you always go back and support there. Even if it's a small, if you can't buy their work, then definitely like their page. If you can meet people, definitely another tip would be giving shout outs. I like to, people who spam my page from time to time, I usually give them a shout out. Hey, thank you guys for all the likes. Shout out, X, X follower, X fan. You know what I mean?
No, yep. No, I do that. So that one's a good one. Yeah, that's good.
Another thing for followers is a lot of people say, oh, well, don't follow a lot of people. Keep your followers. But it's like, shit, man, I got over 1,000 followers, and these are people who've shown me love. These are people who was like, okay, well, a lot of famous artists, none of them are following me. Todd McFarlane ain't following me. Ed McGuinness ain't following me. But, I still support their work and stuff, and I definitely give them a follow. You don't want to go crazy. You don't want to have 10,000 followers when you're at like 1,000. That's not the way to go either. So kind of keep them leveled. Try to keep your followers a little shorter than usual, but if they show love, then definitely. For something I do myself is I'm from Chicago, so I've met people, artists, people who are into health, people who are into doing nails, people who do makeup, and they're artists in their own right. You know what I mean? But they're from Chicago, so I try to support a lot of Chicago fans. I shout them out from time to time. I don't look for any type of reciprocation, but when they do, it's cool. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. No, I got you.
So that's my biggest tips right there, man, for getting followers.
Yeah, man.
I threw in a lot, man.
No, and a lot of that I'll take in, and I'm not saying I'm not going to take it all in. I just, as we all, we're good at some things, we're bad at other things, and we have totally skipped other things we didn't even know. So definitely, yeah, I learned a lot, so I appreciate that. And anyone who's watching this or watching in the future, I think that's some really great advice. So I'll definitely implement it on my end. Sure.
Cool, and I mean that brings us into a closing. This has been episode number 22, part 2. Make sure you guys go check out part 1. And once again, Joe, thank you very much, man. Yeah, awesome talking to you. Thank you for your service again. Guys, make sure you guys go follow Joe_Tollivers_art. He's also on Facebook at Joe Tolliver.
Joe Tolliver and then Comic Arts. So hopefully just go to Comic Arts with a Z.
Comic Arts with a Z. Comic Arts on Facebook. YouTube.
No YouTube, not really.
No YouTube. And definitely Twitch. You got a nice link, m.twitch.tv/Joe Tolliver Art, one word, /profile.
Follow me there because I'd love to start doing live videos there. Right now I do it on Facebook, but the goal was to eventually do all my live stuff on Twitch.
There you go. Good stuff. Guys, make sure you guys follow. Joe, again, thank you very much, man, for this experience. And you got an open door, man. Whenever you want to feel like coming back on and just bullshit some more.
It was awesome. I just, before I get off, I just want to say like 30 seconds, if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to say, this was something that for my kids and for me and my wife, like when you offered this up, this was a big deal. Like we put it on the calendar, we knew it was going to happen. We moved the kids upstairs because they're a little rambunctious. This was a big deal for me.